The heroes finally arrived to the throne room, but it was already too late. The portal to Abyss opened in a chaotic burst of evil, demonic energy, sending everyone tumbling back into the hallway. As they were picking themselves up, the most horrifying otherworldly noise echoed throughout the room, sending chills down everyone's spines. The tension was palpable. The fate of the world was now on the shoulders of a few individuals who just so happened to get together by chance and were now the last line of defense against the endless demonic legions about to burst into the material world. Nervously waiting for what was about to happen, everybody was clutching their weapons and waiting to unleash their magic. Cold sweat was traveling down everyone's faces. With no option left but to fight, the heroes started getting ready for the deadly showdown. Soliana started furiously casting her many powerful spells. Grolohilda's radiant rights emanated a faint glow off of her weapons. Zorja was instructing her summons what to do and where to go. Karumak was calm and collected, but his eyes oozed and revealed the serene storm of inner ki, ready to go face to face with death itself. And then the horrific tentacle protruded from the portal, grasping the edge. A huge two-headed figure slowly squeezed through the planar borders, accompanied by about a dozen minions. Demogorgon, the sibilant beast, the Deep Father, the master of the spiraling depths, the prince of all demons. As soon as the demon lord turned both of his heads towards the heroes, his maddening gaze and horrible telepathic visions caused immediate chaos and disarray. Grolohilda and Karumak looked lost and confused, their drive and determination withering away. Soliana and Zorja got stunned, causing most of their spells and summons to vanish as they were unable to concentrate. Demogorgon let out a deep, guttural growl of victory. He knew it was already all over. Except it wasn't. A small goblin popped out of the corner, catching the demon lord a bit off guard. His eyes were closed, his face full of fear and panic. Oh, big, scary demon! I don't want to look! I don't want to look! However, he did open his left eye slightly and peeked for just a moment. Demon Lord's magical gaze immediately flooded his mind with darkness, terror, and madness. No! The goblin screamed, barely resisting the mental assault and sending a barrage of magical missiles straight into Demogorgon's two heads. The guided arcane projectiles with supernatural magical precision caused a painful, deafening roar. Demon Prince's heads got horribly mangled and disfigured, but he was still standing. Die! Shrieked the goblin again, sending yet another volley. The abnormal arcane stress and pressure was too much even for the Prince of Demons. Demogorgon's body faded away spectacularly in mere seconds. Soliana, Zorja, Karumak, and Grolohilda all seemed to wake up from a dream, a horrible dream, at the same moment. What happened? Who are you? Asked Karumak, still having no clue what just happened. Hi, my name's Hex, and I just killed Lord Demon Gordon. You're welcome. Now go kill the rest of the demons. See ya! Alright everybody, hope you enjoyed this little bit of an intro. This was a slightly different story than I usually do. Hopefully you had your fun. I tried to go for the comedic angle, probably failed. It's probably a cringe fest like it usually is with these intro stories. But for some reason a lot of you do like it, so I'm gonna keep bringing them. Keep bringing up the cringe levels, and yeah, sometimes and someday I'll probably turn it up all the way up to 11. If it already isn't 11 at this very moment, this very intro story. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to waste too much time on it. First and foremost, the usual shout out to my patrons. There's a lot of you still, even though some of you left. So Rogor, Larry Hocken, BardlyManHardlyTrying, Mike, Andreas, Matthew Ewing, Adar Millz for some reason is not on this list, I don't know why. Patreon is doing weird things. Yeah, thank you for your continued support, thank you for sticking with my online campaign. Yeah, we are 4 weeks into the campaign at this point, and you are still coming back, you are eagerly waiting for new sessions, so yeah, thank you for that. All of you other patrons, Brad Oldham, there's too many numbers. Chris Pell, Mannozi, Stefano, Yaboy Fox, Bryan Moten, Sean, Corry Williams, Jeremy Helton, Joel C. Alcazar, Will Ketterer, Zachary Bradley, Milian, Darth Xín, Gary Course, Matthew Collins, Albert Kwak, SuburbanHell, and Frank Fan. Thank you for your continued support. I cannot do this without you. You give me a push to make these new videos. So yeah, thank you very much. Before I continue with the video, I do want to say something real quick about Facebook fan page of a good friend of mine, a guy who I've been playing D&D for almost 2 years at this point, every week for the past 2 years. His name is Vice. This is his fan page. I'm gonna put the link down below in the description. He makes custom minis, he makes custom sculpts like these. He is a goddamn wizard artist. Yeah, so please go check out my boy. He doesn't have too many likes. I hope for that number to goes up after this video. Please don't disappoint me. I do hope to at least see this number go to 300, if not even more. Some of his sculpts are just goddamn, it's mind-boggling the stuff he does, and these pictures that you are seeing on the screen, I've seen them in real life. It's just amazing. The level of detail, the painting, and the amount of time and patience and determination and willpower that goes into these it's just amazing. I don't know. I couldn't do it myself. I don't have the artistic line in myself. And yeah, please once again go ahead, check out this page, drop a like, and obviously if you are interested, get in touch with him. He does make custom sculpts for people who are interested, so for more details send a message to him. He will respond promptly, because basically this is what he started doing recently. So yeah, also I do want to mention that this particular let me just find it on this list of, yeah, this one won a recent contest. I don't know the name of the contest, but yeah, it won the first place. A bunch of these got basically produced in a factory line, but yeah, he made like a prototype, obviously handmade mini. It's obviously like a mimic. It's for all of you who know what it is. For those of you who don't, it's basically a monster, a very, very known and like cult monster of D&D. So yeah, there's a bunch of other minis that he makes, some cute ones like this one, some kind of a little bit more sinister, you know, angry ones like this one. All sorts of tasties, whatever you want to do, he does make. So yeah, please go ahead and drop a like to my boy. I don't want to waste too much time. I'm already talking probably way too much about this. And if you are bored, the shoutouts are now completely over. Let's get into the meat of the matter. So, the build that we have today on our hands is called, well, Magic Missile Maniac. What other name is good for the build that revolves around the Magic Missile? From the thumbnail of the video, you pretty much already know what route this goes. But if you wonder how we did it, well, first and foremost, I am gonna tell you that there's a bunch of ifs with this build. So first and foremost, your DM has to allow you to use Unearthed Arcana materials. Second, he will have to allow you to roll 1d4 for all of your Magic Missile dice. If those two conditions are met, this build will definitely work as advertised, but definitely, as I always say in all of my videos, talk to your DM, see what he or she thinks. And yeah, work with that. If he or she is willing to let you use this insanity, I think you will have a lot of fun, because basically, unless the monster doesn't have a shield spell or a counter spell, or I don't know, limited magic immunity, this will pretty much just one turn shut down most of the monsters in the monster manual. I don't know, Volo's Guide to Monsters, all of those high CR monsters, demons, monstrosities, aberrations. It just kills them outright. There's just nothing that can stop this, right? Other than anti-magic field, limited magic immunity, shield spell, counter spell, stuff like that. But yeah, basically this does revolve around the ruling. Now if we go to some of the Jeremy Crawford's tweets, which he posted a couple years back, by Raw, if you open the page 196 of Player's Handbook, which basically revolves around dealing damage. So yeah, it would be this one. It does say that if a spell or other effects deals damage to more than one target, you roll all the damage dice once. Now, Magic Missile can deal damage to more than one target. It can also deal the damage to one target, same as Fireball, depending on the the amount of targets affected by the spell. So yeah, it's kind of like a weird little thing with Magic Missile. There's I'm not gonna say controversy, but there's like a continuous discussion whether you should roll 3d4 or 1d4 at level 1 Magic Missile. If you roll 1d4, as Jeremy Crawford says, is raw, rules as written, in that case, this build is also gonna work as advertised. If your DM is gonna tell you that you have to roll 3d4, well, unfortunately, this build is not gonna work, so, well, yeah, there's that. So, with all of those things out of the way, if all of those things are covered, we can definitely proceed further. So yeah, basically these three tweets confirm his stance. These are older tweets, and I'm the first person who doesn't agree with some of his rulings. I do mostly enforce 1d4 plus 1 in my game when the Magic Missile happens, because I don't know, I have a split opinion in it, but that's not the theme, the topic of this video. We are taking the assumption that your DM is going by rules as written, taking Jeremy Crawford's tweets at face value, and then on top of that allows you the use of Unearthed Arcana. With all of those things covered, let's see how this actually works. So first and foremost, you would take, obviously, you would have some kind of ability score, obviously point buy. I'm not sure why it's not... Okay, there we go. So basically this is how I recommend you do it. You need a lot of classes for this to work as advertised, so you need to spread your ability score increases between Charisma, Wisdom, Intelligence, even Dexterity, and obviously Constitution. Without at least 14 in Constitution, your hit points are gonna be way too low, and it's not gonna be a fun game. We do want to make this build at least somewhat balanced, and a bunch of 14s and 13s is unfortunate reality of this build, because it revolves around a bunch of classes that have their own ability scores, and yeah, for that reason it's kind of mad, you know. It's multiple ability score dependent, and yeah, you do need these scores did in this manner. This is how I would do it. I would pick up a goblin, basically for the Fury of the Small, because you can add extra damage equal to your level on all of your spells and attacks. So yeah, on top of that we have the Action Surge from the Fighter, we have the Hexblade's Curse from the Warlock, and we have a Wizard, which we have the Magic Missile spell from the Wizard. And then finally, the main ingredient of this build, the ingredient which deals ridiculous amount of damage, over 1000 damage, combined with the Action Surge and Magic Missile, is the Unearthed Arcana Twilight Druid, obviously, which is not an official material, it's a playtest material. Again, if the DM allows you the use of this subclass, this is the thing which is gonna push the damage of the Magic Missile to an absolutely ridiculous proportions. The proportions which basically, once you cast the spell and the monster doesn't have some of these countermeasures, I mean, yeah, you basically one turn, one shot kill the monster, and that's about it. You know, combat's over as soon as your initiative, as your turn comes up in the initiative track. I mean, yeah, that's about it. That's sort of like some part of the reason why I usually do not allow Unearthed Arcana in my own home games. I do allow some of it, which I kind of think that it's not. There's no potential for stupid things like these. But obviously with untested, with like playtest materials like this, stuff like this can be done. Obviously I would recommend you to talk to your DM if you want to use this in a campaign. Get an okay from a DM, get the DM, you know, like on the same page as you. If it's a one-shot, if it's just like make the most ridiculous character mechanically or flavorfully or whatever way you want to do it, I think it's fair game. One-shots are made for you to make ridiculous characters, and this is one of those characters which is, I mean, plain and simple ridiculous in terms of mechanics. It's just like nothing comes even close to the amount of damage you can do without any magic items. It's just like pure class synergy between the spells and features for the ridiculous amount of damage that you can do. So yeah, basically Harvest side follows the same logic as Empowered Evocation Wizard, and also the fact that you roll 1 damage die. So, if you go and read the feature, it says, when you roll damage for a spell, you can increase that damage by spending dice from the pool. Blah, 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 blah. The level of your druid is equal to the amount of these damage dice you have in the pool. You deal necrotic damage with this feature. And also there's an added benefit which doesn't really matter that much. I mean, you don't really care about healing yourself, you care about dealing damage. So you have a pool of energy represented by a number of d10s which is equal to your level. If you hit, let's say like level 16 druid, which is possible with this build, you have 16 d10 and you can use half of these d10s on your magic missile. So when you roll that 1d4 plus 1 plus 8d10, that's gonna be on average a ridiculous amount of damage. And also don't forget, on top of that, Hexblade's Curse, you gain a bonus to damage rolls against the cursed target. So you bonus action curse the target, you gain a bonus damage equals to your proficiency bonus. Now, again, we roll 1 damage roll. There's a single damage roll regardless of the level of your magic missile. So if you cast a 9th level magic missile, it's gonna be 1d4 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8d10 from your what's the name, the harvest site. And yeah, basically also don't forget you have the Fury of the Small from the goblins, so that's additional 20 damage on top of that. Not much, but 20 damage is 20 damage, you know. It's sometimes all you need. Yeah, if the monster has a ridiculous amount of hit points, even above the 1000, you can still kill it with this build. Because if the monster, again, doesn't have limited magic immunity, doesn't have shield spell, counter spell, or some other bullshit that the DM decides to drop, you know, to meta DM and say, yeah, your magic missile is not gonna work because this monster has this, this, and that. Sure, if the monster doesn't have that, let's look over the calculations. So for the maximum hurt, you are 1 level of wizard, learn magic missile, start winning right away. Level 2, you multiclass into a Hexblade Warlock for Hexblade's Curse. Your magic missile deals 1d4 plus 3 right away at level 2. At level 4, you take 2 levels of Druid for Harvest Site. Now you can add 1d4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 1d10 immediately at level 4. So your magic missile is already ridiculous at level 4. At level 6, you add 2 levels of Fighter for Action Surge. You are complete right now. You have all of the ingredients for this spell to deal as much damage as possible with this build. And the spell itself, there's no counter other than the select few spells. There's no chance to hit or miss. The spell is auto hit. We all know what Magic Missile does. It's like a shitty little first level spell that deals trash damage. But with the combination of these features, the damage becomes absolutely bonkers, mind-blowing, ridiculous. Obviously, all of the other levels go into the Druid. Total of 16 Druid levels, 2 levels of Fighter, 1 level of Hexblade, 1 level of Wizard. You have a harvest side pool of 16 D10, and remember, you can go and take half of these D10, so you can take 8 D10 and add it to one of the damage rolls of your Magic Missile. So let's see how much damage you can actually do with this. Bonus action, Hexblade's Curse. At level 20, that adds your proficiency bonus. We already know, we've read it. So that's a +6. Action, using your action, you cast a level 9 Magic Missile, which has 11 missiles. Each missile deals 1d4 + 1 by default. That's the damage of the Magic Missile, right? And then on top of that, I don't know why it's screwed like this, but yeah, basically that's the damage. It's force damage. On top of that, you add the Hexblade's Curse. Now your Magic Missile deals 1d4 + 7. That's cool, that's a lot of damage, but that's not nearly enough as much as we can do. The icing on the cake is the 8d10 harvest site, plus obviously 20, which is a flat increase. This is not 20 per dart, this is 20 per spell. Yeah, you do have to make a distinction, because Fury of the Small, when you damage a creature with an attack or a spell, blah blah blah. So basically all of your spells once per short rest can deal additional 20 damage, provided that you're a level 20 character. On average, with an 8d10 plus 1d4 plus 7 on each and every one of these 11 missiles, plus 20 for the entirety of the Magic Missile spell, you deal 608.5 combined force, and majority of that damage is gonna be necrotic damage. That is insane, just right off the bat. With your action, you can one-shot pretty much like 95+% of the monster manual, Warlock's Guide to Monsters, Mordecai and Storm of Force. Just kill it outright, like one turn, that's all you need. But if that's not enough, if the DM decides to drop you some ridiculous 1000 damage monster on top of you, you're still equipped to deal with that bullshit. Using your action surge, obviously, and since we've spent a level 9 spell slot, we still have a level 8 spell slot, so it's just one less Magic Missile. Unfortunately, on that spell, we cannot use Fury of the Small because it's once per short rest, but still, even then, with the one lower level spell slot, without the Fury of the Small, we still dish out on average 535 force, and a majority of that damage is gonna be necro again. So I don't know why it says force, it's gonna be obviously necrotic. So in total, it's gonna be about 1000 on average, 1143.5 damage force, combination of force and necro. This is, I mean, obviously bonkers. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, sure, it's a one-trick pony, I mean, but a first level spell called Shield basically stops it. I mean, Shield itself stops it, it's a first level spell. Even if the monster doesn't have a shield, the monster can have a counter spell, it still can't stop it, even though to a lesser extent, because Magic Missile does have a range of 120 feet, so if you are decently far away, if you are farther away than the 60 feet, yeah, the only spell that can stop it is Shield, but there's still, you know, possibility for that to happen, and obviously counter spells. So the way I would do this spell, I wouldn't go for the maximum hurt, even though you can definitely do it, and in a majority of cases, let me tell you, a lot of stock monsters in Monster Manual, the CR20s, 25s, they really don't have any of those spells, and only a select few monsters have limited magic immunity, you know. Obviously Tarask has Reflective, Carapace, whatever it's called. Monsters like that exist, but obviously nothing in the game has a 100% chance of success. With this combination, you're pretty much gonna be able to deal damage to almost, like, definitely 90% or more monsters in the Monster Manual, Volo's Guide, Mordecai, and whatever they're coming from, right? Now, if your DM decides to drop a bunch of counter spells, shields, monsters that do have those countermeasures, I would go for like the middle of the road approach with the less counterable build. So instead of being a 1st level wizard, you would eventually be a 5th level wizard in order to get a counter spell, obviously. And the rest in druid. This will not really decrease your damage output that much. You're still gonna be very close to 1000. Just a bit south of it. 900 damage pretty much kills every stock monster in terms of just the pure damage output. Yes, some monsters are immune to necro. That's just the unfortunate reality of the things, but not a lot of them are immune. Some are a lot of them are resistant, but immunity is other than the select few demon lords, one of which is definitely not Demogorgon from the intro story. If you go and check out the stat block, obviously he is immune to poison and non-magic physical, cold, fire, lightning resistant. He is not even resistant to necro damage. So yeah, all of that damage would go just straight into him. You can basically just kill this guy with an action, if you're level 20, right? But for the purpose, let's say like you were a lower level character, you cannot deal as much damage, but you can still output a lot of damage if you action surge, and then on top of that, with using your regular action, cast 2 magic missiles. And no, you definitely can cast two magic missiles. The combat rules for using spells in the okay, so spells, it's just the basic rules. Bonus action, you definitely can cast a spell provided that one of the spells that you cast is not a bonus action. So as long as you don't use your bonus action to cast a spell, you can keep casting as many level spells as you humanly can. So with action surge, you can definitely cast 2 magic missiles. Do not forget that. Do not think that you can only cast 1 level spell on a turn. You can cast 2, provided, again, that one of those 2 is not being cast using a bonus action. That's about it. So yeah, basically, that's the middle of the road approach. If you want to make a build that is kind of still a one-trick pony like this, but doesn't rely solely on the, what's the name of the thing? So that would be the Twilight Druid. So yeah, the Twilight Druid would basically be like a 2 times per day thing. But if you want to make a thing that has more mileage, so you can keep casting magic missiles as much as you have spell slots and still be effective with it, I would say that you go 10 levels in Evocation Wizard, because beginning at the 10th level of the Evocation Wizard, you can add your intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll of any wizard evocation spell you cast. So again, this also refers to the fact that by raw, you roll only 1 damage die. You don't roll 3d4. You roll 1d4 plus 1 plus whatever modifiers. And that damage gets applied to all, however many magic missiles you cast, depending on the spell slot that you are using. So, Empowered Evocation, also Jeremy Crawford does benefit magic missiles damage roll. Because it's a 1 damage roll, just like Fireball, but that roll can damage the same target more than once. It is wonky, it's a bit probably counterintuitive. You would, by reading the spell at first, you would probably think, yeah, you roll 3d4 plus 3. But by raw, you definitely do roll 1. Now, if you like it, sure. If you don't, well, tough luck if your DM says you will roll it by raw. Again, if the DM allows you to go and roll only 1d4 instead of 3d4 or however many d4s are there in terms of how many missiles, and on top of that does allow you to use Unearthed Arcana, this is just bonkers. I obviously haven't playtested this. This is just theory crafting at this point. I mean, again, this can be easily shut down. But so can pretty much, let's be honest, all of my other builds on a channel. There's nothing unbeatable in 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. It's pretty streamlined and tame. That said, there are broken combinations like these ones, and I do enjoy making them, and I do enjoy showcasing them on a channel. Because, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of loopholes, especially with these playtest materials. Part of the reason why I took more than a year before I finally decided, yeah, let's make a video where I include some of the third-party Unearthed Arcana materials. In this case, you can definitely see how that playtest material, which is still not official, still hasn't been playtested extensively, can be used in a very broken manner. I mean, this, let's be honest, this breaks the game. But if you are in a one shot and if your DM says, yeah, sure, why not, let's have some bullshit session, and have fun with it, because I mean, I guess it would be fun to do this at least once in your lifetime. Well, I mean, you can definitely do this word by word and have your fun in a very, very weird way. So I would say that's about it. Also, I would like to make a shout out to one person who pointed me out to this combination. So his name is Adar Millz, one of my patrons. He is Vex in my home campaign. Also, let me just quickly announce, I will be releasing more highlights videos for my home campaign as well. So stay tuned for those. They are gonna be up on the channel very soon as I find time and willpower and patience to just cut all of the clips from like a million hours of material that I have. And yeah, he was actually the one who pointed me to the Twilight Druid and said, yeah, you can deal a bunch of damage if you follow the raw. So this is obviously not my idea, I stole it from this guy. So yeah, shout out Vex, shout out Adar, Hudo, whatever your name is. Yeah, you were the one who gave me the idea, and I think this is definitely attention worthy. So with all of that said, once again, I would like to point you to my Patreon page. So if you go to Patreon and go to my page, you can definitely download all of my things from the previous videos, all of my files, notes, PDF Word files. I also do have a couple more slots in my home campaign, so if you wish, it is a bit of a steep price point at this point, but if you wish, especially after I release some of my campaign highlights videos, if you're interested, definitely get in contact with me, get in touch, see if you can adjust your own schedule to the schedule of my games. They usually take place during they always take place during the weekends, but the hours might be a little bit shifty. So yeah, definitely get in touch with me in that regard. For all of you other folks, if you wish to go ahead and just drop a couple bucks my way, if you think I deserve it, go ahead, drop a couple my way. Other than that, I will have more videos, build videos coming up soon as well, so stay tuned for those as well. Other than that, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button. You know the drill with these videos. I usually say it by the end. Hope you enjoyed this video, this build. Hope you find some inspiration for your own characters. There are multiple ways to make Magic Missile useful. This is one of the definitely most bonkers, ridiculous, broken ways to do it. Yeah, that's definitely it. Once again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell button, get notified. You know how YouTube it is. If you don't hit the bell button, you don't get notified of new videos. It's very weird. So make sure you do that. I'm Min Max Munchking out, and talk to you soon.